Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo and Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, it does not work. So let's get open for business and let's wake up those football gods on this Monday. First Monday in February. Oh my God. Time is literally flying by. We've got, of course, the Super Bowl this weekend, in which case we know that the Dallas Cowboys aren't going to be there. And 30 teams right now are trying to figure out how they get to the next Super Bowl. The Cowboys have a lot of work to do. This year was a complete disappointment, disaster. I don't know what you want to call it, but it was just bad. Now, for me, I feel like the good news is typically when the Cowboys have had a really, really bad year, they have followed it up with good seasons. You know, we remember 2015 and how bad that was, where we were in a similar situation. We lost Tony Romo for all but 4 games, and the team was terrible. But that led us to a great draft where we ended up getting Dak. We got Zeke. We got Jalen Smith. We got Anthony Brown, guys that are still starting for us right now. And a lot of teams can't necessarily say that. Now, for the Cowboys, the biggest problem for us was, of course, losing our offensive line. Defense being forced on to a new defense without having the players that we needed. We barely had the players that we needed to run our regular defense. Now you're trying to get a different set of skills. So we have that situation. Hopefully that's rectified. And of course, there is the Jerry Jones situation. Now, as we stand right now, there's a lot of teams out there that are trying to figure out their quarterback situation, and the Dallas Cowboys are one of them. I'm not going to really touch on too much of that because we all know where we are. We have the Dak Prescott situation of the Cowboys franchise tagging, getting him a long-term deal, or letting him go, or as some will say, signing him to a franchise tag and getting him to sign it and trading him. While we're talking about trading, I'm not saying that that's a bad idea. I'm saying that that may be a difficult idea. But let's take a quick look at some of the offers that the the Lions got for Matthew Stafford. So originally, the Rams offered their first round pick and Jared Goff with an additional pick. That, of course, wasn't accepted. Washington added a first round pick, which would have been the 19th overall, and a third rounder. So they're definitely in the market for a quarterback as well. The Panthers offered their first and a later pick. The Colts supposedly offered packages of picks and players, but never their first round pick, which is interesting because the question you now look at is, okay, if they didn't want to offer their first round pick for Matthew Stafford, does that mean that they're looking at it and saying Deshaun Watson is too expensive? And I have a feeling that Deshaun Watson will be staying in the Texans. I think the asking price is just going to, and it may be worth it. I don't know, but you're talking about 3 number ones and probably more picks or players. That's a lot to deal with, and that's a lot to give up. I think trading 2 number ones for Matthew Stafford along with a third and a player, that's a lot. Interestingly enough, that is the second trade ever involving 2 number one picks directly for existing NFL player, quarterback. And it's amazing because the other person was Bobby Lane, who also played for the Detroit Lions, who also went to the same high school in Texas as Matthew Stafford. So talk about deja vu. We'll see how well it works out, see if it works out like a Bobby Lane or not. But on with the list. San Francisco never really made an offer, but they believe the 12th overall pick was not going to be on the table. The Broncos discussed a pick of swaps, equating to a first pick, to a late first round pick. And the Bears and Patriots checked in and kind of said, nah. So that's where we were with the compensation wise that the Lions were looking at. And, Matthew Stafford basically said, the only place I don't want to go is New England because, we had our head coach come from there and he stunk. So back to the Cowboys. The Cowboys, our offensive line was in tatters. Tyron Smith, who since 2016 has missed 3 or more games due to injury or being shut down for rest, every year. And of course, last year, really not getting out of the gates, only playing 2 games and having neck surgery. Rumors are out there all across the board that the Cowboys are done with him, that he's done with football, that the neck is bad, so on and so forth. If you go to the Cowboys aren't putting that out there. Tyron Smith's people aren't putting it out there. They're basically saying that the neck injury was a minor, surgery to fix it and things like that, and that he'll be good to go. Lyle Collins, the big thing with Lyle Collins was he came into camp, like a lot of people, overweight and out of shape, and ended up straining the hip. He also had the car accident that was in that we don't know if that exacerbated the situation or not. But if you're the Cowboys, the reality is you only have so much money to go around, and you only have so many picks. And as we're looking at our defense, you need another defensive tackle. You need a safety. You need another cornerback. You need a linebacker at minimum. And you may have to use your higher draft capital to get true players. So now that gets back to the offensive line. For the offensive line, or the offense for the most part, if you sign Dak, you feel that Zeke Elliott will come back better, and much to people's idea that just cut Zeke, and we'll just rely on Tony Pollard. I don't think Tony Pollard is ready to be the show for the whole year. You need both of those guys. So running back, we're okay right there. Tight end, of course, my man DMV says if Kyle Pitts is there, you got to draft him. We need that guy because he'll be the best player on the board. I'm still thinking about my defense. I still felt that way when we ended up drafting CeeDee Lamb, but you see CeeDee Lamb is a baller. The question is, can you make do with Lyle Collins and Tyron Smith? Can you roll the dice for one more year, or must you spend that number one pick on an offensive tackle? And will it be a reach? Because here's the thing that you have to worry about this year. Never buy something out of desperation. Don't wait till your car is dead and it's not revivable and you got to go to work the next day. Because what's going to happen is you're going to go through and you're just going to grab, man, I got to go to work tomorrow, man. I need a car. And you're not going to take time to go through and evaluate what you need or what's a good buy and shop around and say, maybe this. No, you get a hoopty. I just got to get something to get me by. And you're going to end up regretting it later because you're going to put good money after something that may not be with it. And that's one of the problems of what happened to us when we drafted Taco. Well, there's a couple problems when we drafted Taco. But we looked at the situation where there were a lot of cornerbacks that were still on the board, but edge rushers were flying off the board. And Taco was kind of a reach. We need some pass rush help. D-Law hadn't become D-Law yet. You're looking at Tyrone Crawford being one of our best defensive ends, and you kept saying, who's rushing the passer? We got to get somebody, and I feel like the Cowboys, instead of literally looking at T.J. Watt, who did not fit their build, okay? They didn't have the length that they like. Ended up grabbing Taco. Not that I'm saying that Taco was bad. Sometimes it's coaching and things like that, but it was a reach. That's one of the reasons why they say take best player available. Because when you need a tackle, that guy who, if you weren't needing a tackle, you look at and say, yeah, he's okay. Maybe he's a second or third rounder. But you're looking at it because I need a guy right now. I think what the Cowboys will do, after having the experience that they got this year on the offensive line, and I know people can't stand steel and things like that, but I think that they're going to, for the most part, wait until the middle rounds to try and get another offensive lineman. I think they're going to roll the dice with Tyron Smith and say, look, if we can get 10 to 12 games out of him and use one of the other guys where necessary, if we have Dak back, then that's going to help to improve and help those offensive linemen, that they're going to roll the dice and say we need to fix the defense more than anything else. And we'll focus in on the defensive picks. Although I will say that first pick will still be the best player available on the board. So that's what I got on that. Hopefully, if Lyle Collins can come back in shape, and play really, really well, we're in great shape. We actually have a lot of depth on the offensive line because of what happened this year. A lot of the younger guys that normally would not have gotten experience did because so many veterans were injured, and I think that's actually going to bode well for us going forward. We'll have to wait and see what the Dallas Cowboys' ultimate plan is, because it doesn't matter what we think or what we say or whatever. It's all what the man upstairs, Jerry Jones, has to say he's feeling on that day, along with Stephen Jones. But I hope for that we can finally get this thing together, start getting these pieces. We have some really good pieces here. We just need to make sure we have a knockdown, drag out, great draft. We've got 10 draft picks, 10 really good draft picks, and we must use them well and get guys that will be there to impact day one. Okay, everybody, don't forget tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, we have our live stream. Hope you guys will join us here. It gets lively. You know, we got fans from other teams, although we don't see the Eagle fans quite as much as we used to. They're on hiding, and it's understandable. But be sure to join us in here. We'll have any news that breaks on the Dallas Cowboys as well as in the NFL and how it'll affect everything. The Matthew Stafford trade definitely will change and affect what goes on in the draft. So we'll start to figure out where this thing is going to be going from that standpoint. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. I'll see you soon.